For usual, everything else channels for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's take a look at some altcoins today. And I still don't really have great news for most people here who are maybe expecting continued bullishness on everything. The party continues to be BTC. That's where most of the corporate treasuries are buying currently, at least. That being said, I don't even have a great read here on BTC. I think the best bull case is some combination of bullish continuation, bullish reversal chart pattern that brings us to 130, 150. And I think you'll leave it at that. Maybe we have a couple months of sideways through Q3. Maybe this little mini inverted head and shoulders is something we get, as well as the broader inverted head and shoulders. You know, we can just keep printing those fractals on every time frame. That's fine. None of that is bearish. I was more immediately worried about this possibility, right? Still kind of trying to maybe still exist. We'll see. But we're back in the range here on BTC. And on a day when BTC is green, almost everything else on my list is deeply red again after being green yesterday. So for alts, it's really a daily coin flip. That's how it feels at the moment. And if we take a look at dominance, it is what it is, right? It continues to just carry on for BTC. We are not seeing anything like 2017 or anything like 2021. Not yet. If and when this time comes, it should be fairly obvious because it's been this bullish going on 3 years now from the bottom in 2022. All dips have been bought on dominance to push Bitcoin higher, and this is currently a cycle high at nearly 66%. And it's no surprise that alts denominated in BTC as a group on total 2 are hitting cycle lows here. Last time we were down here, it took over a year to bottom. And again, it's going to be obvious, and we're just not there yet. So to see alts where they are on a relative basis makes sense as a group. We're just not seeing a lot of strength that is held onto for alts. You may have a day here and there where you get a bounce, but so far all that's just been dead cat, dead cat, dead cat over and over again. Looking at total 2 just on trend, kind of a falling wedge here, similar to that Pepe pattern I was talking about yesterday. We still are printing more stable coins, so it's bullish eventually for alts. But even on total 2, this is not a clear-cut case for bullishness just yet. I would love this to give us something, honestly, closer to Q4. Just let this round out and do nothing. Just grind people to a pulp on chop. And then when they least expect it, sometime probably in Q4, potentially, then we can run again. But right here, right now, it does look a little challenging for alts collectively to move. And that's probably because you've got things like Coinbase that are just roofing, right? You've got all this stuff around crypto doing very well. And so people, in my opinion, don't really feel the need to go out there into the crypto universe and start gambling on altcoins. There's plenty of stuff to gamble on in the legacy markets, right? And we look at WGMI down there in the green, total 2 in the purple. Both of them are lagging coin. Now, if you're bullish, you have to say to yourself, well, that's because alts will catch up, miners will catch up. Certainly possible, and that's been the case for over a year now, if not longer. So I think there's some fair expectations of that, but it sure doesn't feel good in the moment. I mean, the smart trade is to rotate out of coin into alts, right? Like, if you want to play the relative value game, that's something you could do. Just as people are rotating out of Circle and into coin, you could take it one step further, go out of coin, go into some basket of top 5, top 10, ETH, Sol, whatever. Because looking at this year-to-date picture, still a bit surprising to me. Coin outperforming the list here as of today. MSTR plus 28, BTC plus 15, MSTR basically 2x BTC still here. Gold in there at 25%. And then alts just rocked. You know, there's a lot left off here that's between 40 and 60%. ETH and Sol basically identical year to date, down 26, 28%. And then traditional markets, some mild returns here, 6% on NASDAQ, -3 on IWM, BitX year to date, barely positive. Great example of not holding on to those leveraged ETFs in fear of volatility drag, which that certainly has had this year. Same thing with TQQQ. But Anyway, point is here, people are just doing something else right now. Obviously, they have been for a long time, because look at the difference here between MSTR and MSTR products have certainly stolen a lot of the mind share in dollars and attention from the altcoin crowd. And I know this because I get the same people asking me about the same stuff, right? It's everyone who's looking at the leveraged ETFs. They may like the MSTR story. They may not care, but ultimately a dollar in MSTU is a dollar that isn't in Pepe or Doge or Sol or ETH. That's just where the market is right now. So if we look at MSTR in a vacuum, isolated, if you're bullish right now today, you have to believe in this pattern. You have to believe in the trend. You have to believe in the cloud. All those things are valid. I don't hate it. I like it slightly higher. But all in all, it's setting up for a nice move. Again, will it be Q3? Will it be Q4? I would love to see this just struggle. The more struggle we get to break out, the better, because the longer the base, the higher in space. So I don't think we need to see 600 tomorrow. We can just chop around at 415 for 3 months. And that's what we may see with BTC as well. But this chart, again, looks a heck of a lot better than any alt chart you can throw at me. It's not even a question. So when people are just trading naturally and they're looking at the litany of options they have, why would they go and trade alts is the question you have to answer. I don't have a good answer for that. Not when there's stuff that is as volatile as an alt, but is trading closer to BTC. And we can look at this too. We can look at MSTR relative to BTC. This is really the chart you need to be honed in on if you are an MSTR bull, because there is a possibility that we still get MSTR to 600 and we don't break out on MSTR BTC. Now this looks plenty bullish. I'm not saying this can't keep going. You could argue all sorts of bullish fractals here. Adam and Eve, Wyckoff accumulation, Wyckoff this, that, and the other thing. A trend, a channel, I get it. But there is a possibility that you have to realize maybe MSTR doesn't act like a 2x up here. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe just like alts are stealing dollars or being dollars stolen from them into MSTR, we're seeing dollars that are in other Bitcoin treasury companies and not in MSTR. That's certainly the case, as some of this other stuff is up a ton. But that's also competing with altcoin dollars and altcoin attention and altcoin individuals. You know, they're just trading something else. You can also look at it directly. This is MSTU in the white against Pepe and Doge, just those two examples. Most of these collectively as a group, even with volatility drag, have traded the same. You can see recently Doge has disconnected a lot. Pepe increasingly getting disconnected. And if anything, it looks like MSTU is setting up for a little trade here on the 4-hour. Maybe not this week, but soon. Anything above probably 820, decent little trade there. Whereas look at Doge and Pepe. They're not even close to triggering anything that you'd want to touch on a relative basis compared to MSTU. So again, in the past and the present and potentially the future, you're just going to have better things to trade that are not named Doge, Pepe, or the list of alts. Here's MSTR against Solana. That's a new all-time high for MSTR Sol. And I'd argue this looks closer like the gold chart. You got a inverted head and shoulders fractal up there. You got a bullish TK cross, price above cloud. Very strong continuation signal for MSTR. So if you're already trading stronger than an alt, and you have traded stronger than an alt, again, it's just going to be very hard to pull those dollars out of MSTR and into Solana. Here's MSTU against Solana. Again, like for like here on like leveraged beta products. Even with the volatility drag, MSTU has done extremely well against Solana. And again, looks like a breakout today. This looks great relative to Solana. So this says the expectation is MSTU outperformance relative to Solana based on the technicals. And if you're bullish dominance, this makes sense. It's just buy anything that is not an altcoin, buy BTC leverage. You could do the same with miners. You could do the same with anything that has a BTC lens to it. But I would strongly advocate for comparing this stuff because you may find some stuff. I was surprised that this chart looked like this. So it's going to be tough for alts to do well in that environment. This is coin against Solana. Again, it's for the moment, at least, right? Now this can mean revert, but this is a strong breakout for coin since July on a relative basis. If we look at some of this ancillary stuff on the sidelines here, CryptoPunks prices haven't gone anywhere. We're certainly not like late stage alt season. I think we can all agree on that. We may be on late stage Bitcoin dominance season, But there was no froth in alts whatsoever. Pudgy Penguin's also just flat. And the watch market trying to flatten out. So it's, for alts, the same story and probably going to be the same story for quite some time. I think ETH continues to look the best on a relative basis compared to everything else. So if I had to trade an alt, I would compare it to ETH, or I would compare it to MSTR. And if it looks like it's good enough relative to MSTR, great. If not, I like BTC, I like leverage BTC, I like leverage BTC ETFs until that story changes. ETH, you still want this above 2,700 to really care. And again, maybe we get this, we had like, a couple months of nothing here. We had a little dip, and then maybe we have another couple months of imagine that. That is the pain trade where we just do nothing for Q3, which is certainly reasonable. We extend this out, and in Q4, when everything's coiled, then we get a move. A lot needs to happen for that to get to that point, but this doesn't look like imminent breakout just yet to me. It looked a lot better at 2,700, and it'll look better up there again, but right here, right now, not much of anything. XRP still in the range, really nothing to do. Cloud tells you all you need to know there. Sol has continued holding below the cloud, and the good news is when this thing starts to break out above the cloud, it'll be the first time since January, basically since the Trump coin debacle. So that should be a pretty clean signal, but we're nowhere near that today. Just doesn't make sense. And you could go down this entire list, and it's the same story. SWI, below the cloud. I have nothing else to say. Speaking of say, this was one on a relative basis. I already have it drawn there. On a relative basis, was setting up for a breakout, and you got it. So I don't hate DCA in this. I don't hate bids here. I don't hate just blindly buying this, especially if I have to throw money at an alt. It's going to look something like this, where it's done nothing for months, potentially a year, and is finally making higher highs. You can say that with very few charts in this list. Very few. Certainly not ADA, Tau, just ranging. Syrup was one that many people mentioned to me. I just frankly didn't believe, and here we are at an all-time high. I think that is for Syrup. I continue to think this is the train left the station for me on that one. That's why you got to catch this stuff down here, which is why you'd want to catch Sol, right? You want to catch Sol down here, 160 in July. It's the same thing with Say. Is it a surprise to me, the cloud guy, that we got a massive breakout for whatever reason at the cloud? No, it's not. So you just have to learn to look for that and learn to, in some degree, expect that and just trade for that possibility. CAS, nothing. Link below the cloud, nothing to do there. Link above 15 in July, sure. LTC, nothing. AVAX, nothing. Aave, chopping around. It looks decent. Just feels like, say, as an example, would be a better trade for me than Aave. Here, Monero gave back a lot in the cloud there. Curve below. Aptos below, but Aptos above 550 in July. I like it. You can just set alerts for all this stuff and wait. You could even say, is this a giant inverted head and shoulders potentially in the making? Is this in the say bucket where we break some key level and off to the races it is? Again, I like that this stuff has been bearish for this long because it's going to be obvious. It's not going to be a question mark. All this stuff right now is pretty much in the too hard bucket where on trend, there's nothing. There's nothing here. You're guessing. So if you're hopeful and you're thinking, okay, Q4 is going to be bullish, it has to be bullish. Rates are down, liquidity's up. I get that. Fine. Buy it, right? But the technicals are not quite there yet. Render down a lot. Dot, untradeable. TIA continues to make lows. Ondo, new low there. Algo, almost new low there. None of these. Tron just sort of doing its own thing. FET, below. Maker, I still like Maker, 3 to 6 month time frame. If I had to pick an alt that I like, it's this one. Chart looks great. Maker BTC down here. Gave a bunch back today. Whatever. I don't care. It's in the cloud. It's good enough for me. I'm just going to hold on to this for a good long while. STX, we got nothing. 84 cents in July. I mean, there's events that could happen towards the end of the year that maybe push everything higher, right? But we're just not there yet. ENA new lows. Still holding on to this piece of junk. Near new lows. Atom, no. Ray, no. Rune, no. Kaito, not for me. AXL, all the way back down there below the cloud. Pith, below. HNT, below. So of the major L1s, really nothing there. Fartcoin ranging, Doge, nothing. It's just, there's nothing here for anybody. Pepe, maybe a falling wedge, maybe. Whiff, maybe a falling wedge as well. Popcat, little falling channel. Shib, below. Log, chop. Trump, down chop. Bonk, chop. Floki, chop. Now there's going to be a day, maybe Q3, maybe Q4, where we're going to have the inverse of everything I just said. This one's above, this one's above, this one. It's going to be a buffet beyond belief. We're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. And the Sol or the BTC pairs also look real bad. Real bad. The cloud, again, like I laugh, but this teased and edge to edge looked good. Gave some of it back. Continued giving back. Below the cloud, that was your get the heck out signal. That was your stop loss. Below the cloud, below the Kijun. If you want to see a failed edge to edge trade, this is it. So that looks no good. EPTC, in a similar stance, I just think if there's anything that can start to turn it around against BTC towards the end of the year, it's going to be ETH. I mean, I know I said that at the end of 24 for the beginning of 25, and that didn't happen. But the signal is going to be above the daily cloud. You don't want to live back below the cloud. So I don't think you add down there. I like ads above and just waiting. Ripple BTC continues to drift. LTC, maybe a new all-time low there. Tron, sideways. Doge, new low. Oof, that's a new, what is that? Let's zoom out on that. That is a new multi-year low for Doge. Multi-year low. Link, new multi-year low there. SNX, I mean, this is dominance, right? This is just dominance playing out. Even Monero doesn't look that strong. Algo, new low. Maker, we talked about. And then some of this other stuff. Sand, Atom, just hitting new lows. So all in all, not much to do out there because most of the attention and dollars and price action is in alt adjacent legacy products. It's in leveraged ETFs. It's in highly volatile stuff. Still not alt season. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.